Welcome to Better Than Gossip. I'm Amy Schmidt, founder of Fearlessly Facing 50, reinvention specialist, and I inspire women to cannonball with confidence.
And I'm Kristen Cofield, the founder of The Culinary Cure, and I am the eating expert. And today, we are doing Better Than Gossip, Healthy Habits again. Did you know about that?
What? I didn't hear.
You know, that thing I've been telling you about. It's been a game changer for me. I love being in the kitchen with you because every time I learn something new, and I know you're really good about just being my health advocate and really, and I'm learning, and that's what this is about. That's why we have Better Than Gossip, because we all have different areas that we have expertise in. And Kristen is the eating expert. And today, you'll see, we're back on a set that we absolutely love. Something we love about Better Than Gossip is we get to film on location, which is so exciting. And I'm very humbled to be in the town where I live in Ridgefield, Connecticut at beautiful RVNA Health. They've allowed us to use this space to film, and it's an amazing community of supporters here at RVNA Health that basically are, mission-driven around wellness and health and part of the community. And of course, we have back one of our favorites. We could be her mom,
We could be her mom. She's actually younger than my youngest daughter. We're really excited to have Monica back because she is a registered dietitian, and she brings a lot of the science behind the things that we like to talk about.
So Monica Marcello, you are welcome back, and we are so
happy
to see you.
Thank you for having me.
Today's a big one.
Absolutely.
This is
boy.
a topic.
It's the S word.
This is a topic.
Yeah.
Sugar. It kind of is a dirty word, but it's also an important word that we need to educate people around sugar and what they need to know about sugar and why it's so important to control the sugar in their diet.
And I really love that you applied this to all generations because you will find that every single generation is eating more sugar than we need. Mm-hmm. So it's really applicable to everybody.
I think it is. And I have to say, as the youngest of five, so there were five of us, and we used to have dessert every night. My mom cooked dessert. She was not a cook, but she was a baker, and she would make dessert. And so I have this sweet tooth, so I'm anxious to learn about sugar. It's always been a thing for me, much more sugar-driven than savory-driven. So I want to learn. So sign me up. I can't wait.
Well, I just want to point something out. Mm-hmm. You might have been having dessert every night when you were growing up, but you sure weren't having a sugary coffee first thing in the morning.
It's true.
So there's more sugar in our diet because sugar is highly addictive. Yeah. So sugar is one of the most addictive substances on the planet. When rats get a choice of sugar or cocaine, they pick the sugar every time because it lights up the pleasure centers of the brain. So we really love sugar because mother's milk is very sweet. So we're kind of hardwired to enjoy sugars. But our modern lifestyle has changed the way we eat. So the standard American or Western diet has changed food in the last 150 years more than in all of human existence before that. Refining of grains, refining of oils, industrialized farming, and sugar, corn is king. When we switched from cane sugar, and I think that was World War I or World War II, when we switched from cane sugar because we couldn't get it, because it was grown in these Philippines and these parts of the world that were impacted by the war, and we turned to corn sugar, sugar was put in everything.
And I really love that you brought that up too, because when you think of sugar, you think of taste, right? Like it's just there to make my food taste better. That's really not true. The way that we have manufactured our food is that sugar, yes, it's for taste. It acts as a preservative. It gives foods more bulk to them as well. So it really does, and texture as well too. So it really does so many things beyond taste, but yet we still have that, that health deficit because of it.
Health deficit and diabetes.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
And diabetes is not the only,
right.
condition or disease related to sugar. Right. Unfortunately, there is so many
obesity.
more chronic, obesity, heart disease, inflammation, arthritis, so many things that unfortunately can be linked back to added sugar and processed foods in the diet.
Right. Because refined carbohydrates turn into sugar in the body. So there's different kinds of sugar, and quite honestly, breakfast for many people is the sweetest meal of the day.
Well, you mentioned that about coffee, because how many people, how many viewers, how many listeners start their day with a cup of coffee? Now, my coffee is a latte, okay? And I have been good about getting maybe a skinny or a sugar-free, but there are a lot of times I may add something like a sweetener of some sort. And that's probably not good. I know we have an array of products out today. We don't represent any of these products. These are just some common products that you might find at the grocery store, but that's something I do that I shouldn't be doing. But I was thinking that substituting for sugar was the answer.
Yeah, and another point as well, some people think too, juice is like this golden product, right?
Oh, orange juice?
Orange juice, pineapple juice, cherry juice, you name it. And I really want to dispel that myth because juice, really what it does is just raises your blood sugar, and it doesn't give you any of that fiber, minimal antioxidants associated with this processed juice, right? Wow. So I really recommend that we go for a water or a warm lemon water as our primary hydration in the morning.
I'm always saying that, Amy.
You are. And I really am getting better at it. But it's really interesting because I think so many of us have just believed that going and buying a Truvia or a Stevia or whatever that is much better. So are you saying that we should just be putting regular sugar in? Is that better?
Go ahead, Kristen.
Well, I think what we want to do is we want to start the day by balancing our blood sugar. And we did a really great segment on healthy breakfasts and talking about the importance of healthy fat, fiber, and protein to start each day. And when we do that, we're giving ourselves the fuel this body is designed to run on. When we flip the switch and we start with maybe a sugary coffee or a yogurt that's got added fruit, there's something we should really talk about. When people look at a label and they want to see how much sugar is in the food they're buying, sugar is listed twice.
Really?
There's the amount of total sugar and there's the amount of added sugar.
Okay.
So you want to make sure you're getting the lowest amount of added sugar possible when you buy foods.
Kristen, that is such a great recommendation. I really strongly recommend that to all the patients and clients that I work with and try to speak and just inform the general public of this one little trick that you can do that is so easy and that will promote anti-inflammation.
Yes, I agree. And inflammation is a word that we're hearing all the time. I mean, you don't go to a grocery store and at the checkout, you don't see a magazine article that's, eliminating inflammation from your diet. So sugar is really a big part of that.
Absolutely.
I love that, some of these breakfast meals that we did in a different segment with you, Monica, and Kristen prepared, you look at that and you think, oh, that's whipped cream. Oh, no. It's yogurt that we learned about that is so much better for you and no sugar. Right. And it's so simple to go and look at those labels, right? For the yogurt and things like that. I mean, we all fall into that trap. So now we know. So thank you for that.
And when we eat sweet, we crave sweet. So it's really important to dial down those added sugars, those artificial sugars, those super sweet flavors that make it harder for us to taste the natural sweetness of the foods we eat. Can you talk a little bit about those different types of sugars?
Yes, absolutely. So, as we kind of mentioned, right, we found that added sugar really promoted things like obesity and other chronic diseases and were very pro-inflammatory. So manufacturers got smart and were like, why don't we find a substitute where you don't have, that doesn't raise your blood sugar, maybe doesn't promote weight, but you still get that same sweetness. So they came up with artificial sweeteners. Okay. Now, artificial sweeteners may be inert to us in that sense, right? Like that's what we were led to believe, but they're certainly not inert to our gut microbiome. So research time and time again has really shown that they can promote chronic inflammation through our microbiome and metabolic dysregulation. Additionally, research in artificial sweeteners have shown that it can sort of throw off that communication between your brain. And so actually time and time again, it can actually lead to people overeating versus undereating, as well as, again, you still crave that sweet flavor. And then they were like, okay, let's get smarter. And they were like,
there's got to be another way to get people to buy our product.
Right, like where can we get money? Right, so then they sort of started coming up with using, natural sweeteners that have been around for, hundreds, thousands of years, like stevia, like monk fruit. Now, these, though, similarly can affect our gut microbiome very negatively, similarly as artificial sweeteners do. And I think I know what you're going to ask, Amy. Most of the time when you're buying stevia or you're buying monk fruit, you're actually not just buying the pure leaf or the pure sugar, so to speak. Yep. You're actually getting counterfeit items. So you're a lot of times going to get like 2% stevia and 98% sugar alcohol.
Really?
Yes.
That's fascinating to me. Can you break it down for me? Because we just talked about this big word. We had a lot of big words on a lot of episodes. Microbiome. What is microbiome?
That is a great question. So the microbiome, it exists in our intestinal tract, and it is where, trillions of microbiome or bacteria live, mainly good bacteria, and it contributes to our overall health and well-being.
Interesting. Now I know that.
Because remember, the gut calls the shots.
Yeah.
Thousands and thousands of messages from the gut to the brain every day, and a couple hundred from the brain to the gut. So we want to get that messaging right from the get-go. We want to start with that lemon water. We want to have a breakfast that's fiber, fat, and protein. We want to become label readers, so we're looking for those added sugars. And just because there are chemicals in food doesn't mean chemicals are food.
Right.
So I always like to say when people are like, gosh, it's hard to remember what I'm supposed to do when I'm at the grocery store. And I say, if it wasn't around when your great-great-grandparents were kids and they wouldn't be able to identify it on a label, just don't buy it.
Don't buy it.
Buy less food with labels. Wow. Buy more whole foods, just like the juice, right? It's so much better to eat the fruit with the fiber intact. Right. And chewing is underrated. We need to chew more.
Oh, I know. She has a whole chewing thing. I think it's 22 and 22.
Right. Chew 22 and 2022.
Yeah, no, but it's true. Makes a huge difference. Yeah. But I love the fact that you talk about this because this is something we can really role model for our children and, our grandchildren, our children, and really eliminating those processed foods, those sugar, all of those things that are so easy. How often do we just grab a snack bar? Right. How often do we grab a Gatorade? Or it is interesting, though, I will share that, I've got one left in the nest. And when the kids come over and, I'm always have a house full of kids, very rarely do they have soda. Like I grew up with Jolly Good soda. I'm a Midwest girl, so Jolly Good grape soda, cream soda, you name it. That's what I had. And so recently we had a party, kids were over, and so we bought some soda similar to that. Nobody drank it. They really go for water more often, which is great. So there's some educating, that we need to do, but I love that we can role model this, and it's such simple things we can do in our family.
So Monica, now everybody's watching and they're like, whoa, what can I enjoy? Yes. And, we can still enjoy lots of sweet things. And we're not saying you can't ever have a warm chocolate chip cookie out of the oven for criminy sake. I'm going to eat that dough raw. But when people are wondering, well, I'm not really, I already have sweetener in my coffee. How can I kind of detox? What are some of the steps I can take? And it goes back to one of the segments we did. Being hydrated helps make all of this easier.
Right.
When we are well hydrated, the signaling's easier, and it's easier to make good food and beverage choices.
That's very true.
But if somebody wants a little sweetener in their coffee or iced tea, what do you suggest?
So I actually recommend using, in that case, a little bit of sugar, or even better, opting for a little bit of maple syrup. Now, you recommended this because you said you can pour over a small amount.
Right.
And it's, it's so sweet that you get kind of all that sweetness.
A little goes a long way.
Right? There you go.
That's so interesting.
And I recommended honey as well because honey actually has prebiotics.
Okay. Right. Interesting. And maybe support your local farmers.
Exactly. Great point.
I think that's always a great thing. But maple syrup is something we have in the house.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
But just make sure, because it always comes down to this, we want to have less processed foods. So when you're buying maple syrup, make sure it's a pure maple syrup. If you can find one that's organic, that's what you want to look for.
Let's go to Vermont. Tap into
Let's
the
go
trees.
to Vermont. But there's a lot of corn syrups that are flavored.
Right.
To look like maple syrup. Mm-hmm. So corn syrup is really bad. Agave is really bad. Those things spike your blood sugar like nobody's business. So
yeah, that's it. Caro syrup. That was a big thing my mom used all the time when she baked her desserts. I don't even know if they make it.
And if you're baking desserts, just bake your desserts and enjoy them. Let's not get crazy. I think that's a problem too when people are trying to take something that's really intrinsically naughty and make it healthier. Let's just enjoy it for what it is and not try to pretend that it's healthier because we're using gluten-free flour and sugar-free sugar.
And Kristen, you mentioned this earlier too, right? It's all about balance. We know that without balance, you cannot live and lead a healthy lifestyle. So enjoying foods when you can, but also opting to make healthier decisions, in your routines. So build those practices.
Love it.
So we got a secret sauce tip here.
Oh, we do. We have a secret sauce tip, but first we want to hear a little bit from you, Monica, a little bit more about RVNA Health. And we're so pleased to be here today. And we've gotten to know you and the team, and you're part of the team. And, just give us a little soundbite about RVNA Health.
Absolutely, yes. So here at RVNA Health, we are a nonprofit, and our mission here is to serve all ages and stages of the lifespan. And we do this we have a community program. We did vaccinations, COVID testing. So we were really boots on the ground when the pandemic first was ramping up. And all along, we stayed true to our mission of caring for the elderly and everybody in between.
Exactly. And I love the fact that when we met here, Kristen and I worked a lot with the team preparing for this. You're very mission driven, and it's about wellness and health. And that's really the key to what we're doing and informing people and building community. So thank you so much.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. As I think to myself, oh, what a wonderful world.
Absolutely.
And now for the drum roll on the secret sauce.
So the secret sauce really just goes back to that conversation about artificial and natural non-caloric sweeteners. So really making sure that we are sort of decreasing the amount that we are getting in our diet, because we know that one, it does disrupt our microbiome. It sends mixed signals through our gut and our brain. And also the research does tend to lean towards it actually promotes obesity, promotes glucose intolerance, and things that we are ironically all trying to avoid by eating and consuming them in the first place. So again, just a recommendation to opt for a little bit of maple syrup and opt for a little bit of honey if you can.
Monica Marcella, we love you.
She's the best.
We love you. And you're coming back again. We're so excited. But thank you so much. And thank you all for joining us on Better Than Gossip. I'm Amy.
And I'm Kristen. And together we are Better Than Gossip,
sharing ageless advice for timeless women. See you soon.